Hello, my name is Stephanie, and today we will be talking about three different reading and writing disabilities, their definition and some characteristics, along with a brief description of the historical background, some federal and state policies that justify instructional interventions to take place, and some strategies to support reading and writing development for students with these disabilities. Dyslexia is a specific learning disability that primarily affects word reading and spelling. It involves persistent difficulty with accurate and/or fluent word recognition and poor spelling despite appropriate instruction and without intellectual, sensory, or neurological impairments. Some key characteristics are they have difficulty decoding words and recognizing familiar words automatically. Their reading fluency is reduced, poor spelling and frequent spelling errors, difficulties identifying and manipulating speech sounds, and difficulties understanding word parts. In 1878, a German neurologist draws attention to adults with reading problems and neurological impairments, calling the condition word blindness. In 1887, the term dyslexia, from Greek meaning difficulty with words, were introduced and replaced word blindness. In 1896, the first reported case of developmental dyslexia was published in the British Medical Journal. In the late 1800s to early 1900s, the dominant attribute for dyslexia was visual processing problems. In 1925, an American neurologist proposed a theory linking reading difficulties to brain hemisphere dominance. He goes on to develop teaching strategies that are still used today. Published in 1939, highlighting a wide variety of specific learning difficulties and the need for individualized educational assessments. In the mid-20th century, responsibility for literacy difficulties shifts from strictly medical to educational and psychological fields. The research expands to understanding of child development and refines concepts of dyslexia. Federal law officially includes dyslexia under specific learning disabilities eligibility. Under South Carolina's H4434, it specifically requires screening, interventions, and professional development. The South Carolina Department of Education's Dyslexia Handbook provides practical guidance for educators to implement evidence-based practices. Systematic, explicit phonics instruction that includes teaching sound symbol relationships in a logical, commutative sequence to help support students with dyslexia. Provide clear modeling, guided practice, and frequent review. Use short, regular sessions with repetition to build fluency and retention rather than infrequent long ones. Use visual, audio, and kinesthetics methods to strengthen sound-letter connections. A resource teachers could use in the classroom to help support reading and writing development is the Orton-Gillingham approach. A highly recommended source for families is the International Dyslexic Association. It offers help with families to understand dyslexia, choose effective interventions, find trained professionals, and implement practical evidence-based strategies at home. Dyslexia is marked by unusually advanced reading ability for a child's age, paired with significant difficulty understanding and using verbal language, and has challenges in social interaction. Children with hyperlexia often have coexisting conditions like sensory integration issues, ADHD, OCD, depression, and seizures. It is not usually a standalone diagnosis, but exists along a continuum with other disorders like autism spectrum disorder, language disorders, and nonverbal learning disabilities. Historical timeline for hyperlexia is quite recent. In 1967, the term hyperlexia was first used by a neurologist to describe children with advanced reading skills for their age but did not match their language comprehension. In 1987, it was proposed that the main cognitive defect in hyperlexic children is a disorder in speech and language. This involved a severe deficit in language comprehension, which differs from dyslexia. Research continues to explore the relationship between hyperlexia and autism spectrum disorder from the 1990s to 2000s. The studies that were done showed hyperlexia is often associated with autism, though not all children with hyperlexia are autistic. South Carolina laws such as the Dyslexia Screening and Intervention Law and the Read to Succeed program, together with the federal Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, create the framework for supporting students with hyperlexia. This framework requires universal screening, implementation of evidence-based interventions, and use of a multi-tiered system of supports to identify at-risk students and provide targeted academic and social emotional supports. Instructional and intervention strategies for hyperlexia focus on leveraging a child's strengths in reading and teaching, comprehension, and social skills clearly and directly. Use visual aids like story mapping, breaking down stories into key components like character, setting, and plot to help children understand the structure and meaning. Use visual books and picture dictionaries will help bridge the gap between decoding and comprehension. You can use grammar exercises that focus on sentence structure, word order, and other tactical concepts. You need to clearly teach how to answer questions, such as explain the why questions can be answered with because. By connecting academic content to the child's passions will help make learning more engaging and meaningful. Encourage storytelling by engaging the child in activities that help them internalize stories, such as illustrating or acting them out, and discuss story elements like main ideas and themes. Use games to teach work relations and social skills. The disabilityresource.org has essential insights and resources to effectively support individuals with hyperlexia, like the key information about the condition, a list of patient advocacy groups, a directory of hyperlexia support groups, supporting the loved ones, resources for the families and caregivers, all under this one website. Dysgraphia is a neurological writing disorder characterized by significant difficulties with written language, including ineligible handwriting, poor spelling, and problems with written expression. Some characteristics are poor letter formation, poor letter spacing between letters and words, number and letter reversal beyond early stages of writing, inconsistent pencil grip, heavy pressure and hand fatigue, slow writing and copying with legible or illegible handwriting. In 1982, a French neurologist identifies syndromes for both reading and writing difficulties, including dysgraphia, as a neurological condition associated with brain lesions. In the 1940s, an Australian doctor describes agraphia as a complete inability to write, a specific condition linked to brain dysfunction. In the mid-20th century, researchers started recognizing dysgraphia as a separate disorder from dyslexia. By the 1980s, scientists began to systematically document the different types of dysgraphia and its characteristics. In the 1990s, the research continued to use technology to analyze handwriting and further differentiate it from normal developmental delays. Dysgraphia was originally recognized as a part of a larger, officially recognized as part of a larger diagnosis when the specific learning disorder category was added to the DSM-5 in 2013. Federal laws such as the Individuals with Disability Education Act and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act requires that students with disabilities, including dysgraphia, receive appropriate instructional interventions and accommodations, often delivered in an individualized educational program, an IEP, or a 504 plan. In South Carolina, the multi-tier system also supports mandated by Action 213 and guided by the South Carolina Department of Education provides the framework for identifying academic needs and delivering targeted interventions for students with dysgraphia. Some instructional and intervention strategies for students with dysgraphia. You need modified materials and routines by offering pencil grips, different pens or pencils, colored or raised lined paper, and graphic or sideways lined paper. You can use formats that reduce handwriting like multi-choice or fill in the blank. Provide handouts and typed notes / lesson outlines or allow audio recorders or laptops for note-taking. Break tasks into manageable steps, modeling each step with guided practice. Offer alternatives for response, like an oral report or typed responses. Teach explicit handwriting and spelling strategies with multisensory approaches. Dysgraphia Life is a great resource for teachers and parents. Here they have great ideas and tools to help students in developing reading and writing skills. Thank you.